My name is Sunny. I'm a creative director for Sunny Aesthetics. I also do graphic design, web design, and UX UI. People just think design is you just snap your fingers, kind of like with AI. You just write a prompt and that's it. There's so much that goes into it because you want to make sure whatever you're creating, the message gets through to other people. And it takes a lot of revisions and, perfectionism. People want to make it, just right. But sometimes, your imperfections, people see that more and it's more relatable.
I am joined by a creative director, designer, storyteller, podcaster, and someone who's carved her own path through a creative industry that doesn't always make space for voices like hers. Sunny's work lives in the space where culture, memory, and emotion meet design, where typography speaks both words and storytelling goes far beyond aesthetics. She doesn't just design for how things look, she designs for how they feel, moving from film sets and long production days into building her own creative practice, learning, unlearning, and choosing herself along the way. Not waiting for permission, but creating space where there wasn't any. In this conversation, we talk about what it really means to design for the soul, why being part of the 4% changes how you see the industry, how culture and lived experience shape visual language in ways we don't always notice, and why most powerful design often works quietly in the background, telling stories before a single word is spoken. We explore visibility, self-advocacy, creative boundaries, and what it means to stop waiting to be seen, and instead become visible on your own terms. If this episode resonates, follow, leave a review, or you can DM me over on Instagram at Creatively Eccentric. If you would love to be a guest and share your story, register to join the guest waitlist. You'll be the first to hear when applications reopen. The link to sign up will be in the show notes.
How I started in design, I actually started in film first. So I kind of did more of the visual storytelling and then I gravitated more into graphic design. But it was fun. Messy is always, interesting because it's like, oh, why is it messy?
So what do you think you've learned from being in like the film sector? Do you think that's different to what you're doing now?
I've learned so much. And even in film, I was also freelancing. So I was learning to advocate for myself more. And working on set, there are so many personalities. You know about the movie The Devil Wears Prada with Anne Hathaway, and yeah, so there were a lot of Meryl Streeps for leadership. So it's like I would have to stop everything and get breakfast, come in. I had like the dry cleaning and the coffee, and I'm like, oh, I have everything, But being in those positions, it really opened up my eyes to how film is, and it's not always the glitz and glamour. You see a lot behind the scenes, especially being on set for 12 to 14 hours a day. You're spending literally your whole day there. So, it was rewarding and I've learned a lot. It also helped me with like communicating more and talking to people. But at the same time, it wasn't everything that I wanted it to be. I guess I was being more delusional back then because I was younger. But now that I went through that situation and I know how it is to sacrifice my time. I would say working in film, I had to like get up at like 7:30 in the morning. I had to be on set by 8 a.m. I would be home by 8 p.m. So by the time I got home, I was so tired. I couldn't even cook because I was just so worn out. And I realized during that my time is so much more valuable than money because you can't get your time back. So I kind of left film because with AI and with the boycotts and stuff, and at the time Atlanta had so much film production going on. We had like Marvel and so many other movies, and because of the tax write-offs, a lot of these films actually now they're in the UK. So just seeing that and how so many people have basically had to gravitate to other jobs. I wanted to find something with more job security, and I like working for myself, so I just started freelancing between that time.
Was it a straightforward switch, or is it kind of a gradual? You've better had to work in a new industry or semi-new industry to where you are today. Do you think?
It was gradual over time, because when I was in college, I worked on set for a bit as a background extra, and I saw how it was. It was just amazing seeing everyone come together. Get people from audio, sound, people from electric department, art department, set decoration. So really seeing that world and seeing so many departments come together to create stories, and it was just an amazing experience. But at the same time, it's like the time and the effort. It's like, what am I really gaining here? So over time, I went back to school. I ended up actually flunking because I was working on top of that 12 hours, which is like insane. So during quarantine, I had the time to really figure out everything, and I taught myself more of design. I had time to really, I paint and sketch, so I actually had the time to actually do all of that again and really find my passion. And I guess failing that class really made me sad. And I luckily had the support of family and friends. They're like, no, you're very talented. Like, keep going. Don't let that stop you. And that's how I learned too from failing. So,
Definitely.
mhm.
Sometimes it doesn't feel great at the time, but the failure and the journey is probably the best part of it. And you'd probably learn quite a lot through those difficult times. And, that's our story, that's our journey. And I think no matter what design industry you're in, I was wondering, why do you think maybe stories matter in design beyond the appearance and the look, do you think?
It's so important with storytelling. It just gives more characteristics to the brand, and it kind of ties everything together too, as well. So it is important to have those stories and to have that representation sometimes, because with a lot of these stories, it's like I don't see people that look like me or you, but when you see that one person, it's like, oh, I did it. It's really reassuring to the next generation, like, oh, I can do it too.
Definitely, and you're probably bringing that to your work as well. And I really did enjoy your recent Instagram post with Black History Month about typography, how you introduced them into the films. And can you tell me more about that and what you learnt about the fonts with Black History Month as well?
I love everybody loves TV shows and movies, and I figured it would be really important to highlight a lot of these shows and stories with typography, because sometimes with the typography, I think the last post I made, I Love Boosters, is a new movie coming out of Kiki Palmer. I really like how they have their typography. You're actually able to see what the movie is about through their logo, which is really fun. And I figured that would be like a really good way to talk about that, because with everything going on with like politics and stuff, being in the states, it's crazy right now. So it's really reassuring to find other people who feel the same way as I do, that we can at least try to come together and make more opportunities for other people.
But I do like the way you kind of no, don't get me wrong. There's, people have a great message behind what they're trying to put on social media, but I like the way you've done it in a creative way and an explanational way regards to typography and how it relates to Black history as well, and explaining that within the context of typography. So that's quite fascinating. How even typography used in the film industry and how it invokes emotion, etc. I think you said it tells stories before dialogue, and why do you think type matters specifically for black led storytelling? Do you think?
Oh yeah, type matters so much. And it's the characteristics again. Like, I know a lot of I think so I worked on one film, and they were using a lot of Ghanaian and African symbolism, which was like really important. And I know some people don't, really know their history, but just adding a lot of those designs into that, and really, in a way, it kind of like explains like what it is, and it's interesting. And even like with the culture itself, like how they create a lot of these designs, and with the typography, it shows that culture, that history. And I know in the States is a little bit different, but it's like we had to go and create that culture. And I think it's beautiful that the emotions that someone is feeling, they can channel that into something more positive. Like when I'm angry, or if I'm mad at like my boyfriend or something, we get into an argument, I will design. I'll take like all my anger out on design, and I'm like, oh, this looks great. I was rage designing again.
There's nothing wrong with that, and we're human beings at the end of the day. And well, I know we've got AI, etc., but there's still humans creating designs and work and expressing ourselves visually, communicating that through our work, especially designers. I think is interesting to express it through typography. Can speak volumes just by the color, the shape, and representing the community as well. It's very powerful. Yeah, whatever background you have, it kind of comes through. It's your identity, and it comes through in your work, even though you might not intentionally. It's happening subconsciously, definitely.
Thank you. Well, I'm Caribbean,
Same.
Jamaican,
Yeah.
so I try to. Okay, nice. Yes. So yeah, I have a lot of family in the UK. I'm actually trying to plan a trip with me and my boyfriend for like a week or two to go to Europe for a bit. So I figured we start off in the UK since I have family there. You don't have to pay, for Airbnb or anything, and kind of just go through each country. Because I am interested in going back to school. I feel like education is very important, and especially with the work that I'm doing, I want to have more of that merit based, more of that, oh, like she actually went to school for this and she didn't do that. And I have taught myself over time, but still I want to have those credentials behind me as well, especially with the work that I'm trying to do. And Bauhaus, one of the universities in Germany, one of my guest speakers for my podcast, he went to school there. So it was really interesting to hear his point of view of how it was. And I actually took German in high school, so I'm like, oh, maybe I can, go back and check it out and see if it's something for me. But I love traveling, and going to other places and learning, and really respecting other cultures, because that's what helps me get inspired with design too, as well.
So now that you're in the place that you are in your career, how are you finding representation and visibility? Do you feel that you're represented in the spaces that you move in?
Um, well, no, but with my podcast, the one that I started, it's called the 4% Amplified. So it just basically I use that percentage of only 4% of Black designers make up that whole percentage, which is like crazy. So kind of doing that, and guest speaking on other podcasts, and really just having that relationship with other Black designers. It's just creating that community. And I guess being in Atlanta, I guess I can't really say I don't see it, because I do. And Atlanta's different. It's more of like a Black city. So I do see that representation. But from a national, international scale, I don't really see it. So I just decided to add on to the percentage. So hopefully that 4% is now 5, 6,
Yeah,
7.
I was when you were with your podcast, I was thinking about the same about in the UK, and there's lots of reports out there about representation in the specific design industries. It varies from company to organisation in different parts of the country, but it's still not nowhere near as it should be. I think you creating space for yourself and not waiting for to be valued or to be represented is very powerful. That's why one of the reasons why I created this podcast as well. I think you're doing really good work, so I'm really excited to see what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited, and I have so many ideas. I'm just like trying to just articulate what I'm gonna do first. But it does start small, and even how I started the podcast. I went through something traumatic. I actually got evicted, and I was moving back in with my boyfriend. And at the time, I just wanted to just sell everything in that U-Haul truck and just get a one-way ticket and start over. But I knew I had to really hang in there, and I had this idea always in my mind. And instead of getting mad about it, mad at the person and the employers and everything that like led me to that situation, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna use my voice and see if I can create something out of it instead of just being upset. So I guess I would say from that, use your emotions to try to do some good to it instead of bad.
Yeah, definitely. Because it, apart from it affecting other people, being angry is only it's great. It feels great at the time, and putting your energy into your work is very powerful. So, we're going to talk about your current work. So, what work are you doing now that you're not working in film? Are the two careers crossing over in some way?
I miss film. Film is like an ex-boyfriend. I do miss it, but I'm trying to stick more within e-commerce, more of like digital spaces. So more into like the design and creative direction realm of things, more like video editing, um, and just creating more content is something I'm getting more into and writing. I feel like I'm like the jack of all trades here,
Well, you're a
just trying
master
to
of
do it
quite a
all.
lot. Yeah, definitely. Um, so, what is your passion projects at the moment?
My passion project. There's one project I'm working on right now, and it has to deal with co living spaces. So I'm creating a design course about that. And it's about generative conflict. So, which is perfect because a lot of people don't know what to do when there's like conflict going on. So, doing that is actually helping me too. I'm taking some notes on like what I need to do when I get into a conflict. But it's reassuring, it's fun, and I'm helping out other people who, are coming into other spaces that have, I wouldn't say like it's like a migrant situation, but more of like other like refugees and like immigrants are like coming together to live in a space where they don't know anyone. So there's a lot of differences. And it's you're going to bump heads with a lot of people, so it is important to have a lot of courses like this. So I'm excited to make a difference.
What do you hope people feel about? What do you think their emotions will be when they encounter your work?
I would want people to feel resilient, feel like they can be themselves, that they can basically stick to their mission and be focused on what they have to do. And I want to have that inspiration for other people too, as well. That a lot of people get stuck in their heads and they feel like they can't do it. Well, just hearing other stories of how people come from humble beginnings and backgrounds, how they made it. So I want to be able to add my 2 cents into that.
If visibility suddenly disappeared tomorrow, do you think your work will still be worth creating?
Definitely.
What would you create if visibility wasn't there any longer?
Because I've always written stories in like high school and stuff. I guess for me, because I love history. I'm a history buff person, and a lot of these things that are like going on in the world, I would try to use metaphors and allegories, really make the story talk about itself. Like with Octavia Butler, she's one of my favorite authors. I really like her science, her sci-fi allegories. I one of the books I was reading, um, what is it called? Parable of the Sower. I read two of her books. Very good. It's kind of scary because it's like the things that were going on in the book are going on now. But it's a lot of those motifs and metaphors, a lot of those things that are going on. And she written this, what, 30, 40 years ago? So for it to keep happening, it's like we're not listening. We got to come together and try to change at least.
Would you put any of those ideas in a piece of work or artwork?
I would probably sketch. One thing I really want to get into is like creating like marbles, a lot of those. So I think that would be something I want to do. I did pottery for a bit in high school, but I would probably want to try it out again just to see what I can create.
This next part of the conversation, so I get to know you and your creativity, I call it studio drawer. That drawer, that messy part of your life. Let's just say someone opened your studio drawer. What's the most unexpected item that we should find inside?
I love this question. Unexpected item. Let's see. Because I have a lot of things on my desk. For me, what would I have that's interesting? I have a lot of uh design books, like spiritual design books. Like this is a good example. I don't know if you can see it, but this is one book that I really like. And it talks about the Fibonacci sequence. So it's like a natural frequency that the universe makes. So, like the spiral that you see in
Oh, okay,
seashells.
yeah.
So, it kind of talks more about like how back in the day, like how the Celtics created more of their architecture, more of their designs. So, yeah, I'm a history buff person. I'm a nerd. So I like to go back and like really understand like how people were able to create these amazing designs back in the day and what they had to do and how they're able to like create perfect circles. So I am a big believer in like believing what happened in the past. You could bring it to the future and have other people learn from it. So I guess that's in my draw. This book, and it's like in this book comes in a series too. So it also talks about like math and astronomy and like science. So it's like all the major subjects are basically put in together, and it's a sequence that makes sense. So
Um, what is the last creative mess that turned out to be better than expected?
ooh, I like this question. So I was working with a client, and I guess at the time, because every day, you learn something. And I was doing like a lot of people pleasing. I wasn't advocating for myself. And this is like over holiday break. They messaged me to change something last minute. And I guess for me, when I saw that message, I really had to put myself into consideration like, oh, this person does not value me as a partner, or they don't really follow my boundaries. They're not respecting that. And they're not respecting me as a person. And I really had to think, I'm like, is the money really worth it? Or am I just going to continue to get more like talking down on? Like, am I going to have this person control me in every little thing I do? Or am I going to speak up for myself? And I said I resigned, and it felt really good. It felt good because I didn't have to deal with figuring out if today is going to be a good day or not, or just dealing with unexpected emotions and controlling personalities. And I don't like that. I'm very free spirited, and micromanaging is just not something I do, or just being around other people in particular. But just I guess letting go of that toxic partnership, it really taught me that your relationships and collaborating with other people, it's so important, because some people, they don't respect your time, they just want your talent and they want to take all the credit for it. So I had to let that go, and it was rewarding. And I know a lot of creatives out there, they're scared to do that. So I guess it's a sign. If someone is not treating you well, you know you got to speak up for yourself and advocate.
Well done. Brilliant. What's the one thing you wish non creatives understood about your work?
people just think design is you just snap your fingers, kind of like with AI. You just write a prompt and that's it. There's so much that goes into it because you want to make sure whatever you're creating, the message gets through to other people. And it takes a lot of revisions and, perfectionism. People want to make it, just right. But sometimes, your imperfections, people see that more and it's more relatable. And I just keep going back to the with the partnership I had in that example. They actually wanted me to change something last minute, which is from the other question. And people don't understand. There's so many layers that comes to designing, especially if you're making a GIF. You literally have to go back to each layer and change each thing. It's not something you could just change in the snap of your fingers, but to change all of that like the day before on a Sunday. No,
What is the weirdest source of inspiration you've ever used?
I have music playing all the time, but some genres are weird. But it gives me inspiration that I listen to. I love cartoons, so when I listen to like a soundtrack from like Disney or like one of my favorite shows on Cartoon Network, that really helps me get inspiration.
How can creatives design with impact, do you think, without feeling overwhelmed?
It's so hard to not be overwhelmed nowadays. It really is. I guess for me, um, turning my phone off, I know it's really hard to do, but sometimes turning your phone off and just going outside, touching some grass, as they say online, it does make a big difference. It does change your mindset. It's like when you're leaving the house, it's like, what am I going to do? No. But when you come back from that walk, it's like, what was I freaking out over again? Or you're really just taking the time to really think about everything. Being mindful is so important too, as well. Um, oh, wait, I have my mindfulness cards I should have brought up before, but it's something I have too to help me. Because it's like, people get caught up in the past or the future. It's like you really have to remind yourself to be present, be in the now, as my therapist says. So, so turn off the TV. I know it's hard, but turn off the TV. Really think about everything. Think about the things that are going on, how you can articulate that into art, and people can question that because even throughout time with the Spanish revolutions and the French revolutions, a lot of these paintings, they articulate what was going on at the time. So living in this generation now, we got to do the same thing and not keep everything so minimalistic, but at least show those cultural differences that we do have.
Yes, there's a lot of variation out there, and we should definitely celebrate that more. Thank you. If anybody wanted to contact you and support you in your business,
If you guys would like to get in touch with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Shari Fairclough, or I have my link tree as well. Instagram is Sunny Aesthetics as well. Um, yes, I'll give you more notes too as well if anyone is interested in reaching out.
Sunny, it's been a very interesting conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.